Hello orchestrators, welcome to another episode with Titan Node, the #1 place to delegate your stake. Today we will be talking about basic Livepeer commands. This tutorial is part 3 of setting up a Livepeer Orchestrator, and we will be going through commands and tools for managing your node. In this video we'll be going through 4 topics. First, calling reward. Second, client commands. Third, Livepeer Flags. And fourth, setting up your Livepeer profile. Let's get started. The first thing I want to go through is calling reward. The way calling rewards work is each orchestrator every day automatically calls reward, and LPT tokens are created and distributed to your delegators. So if we open up the Brave browser and go to the Explorer for Livepeer, you can see on the right hand side here the amount of calls that people have been calling in the last 30 days. And as you can see, if you miss a call, then the LPT tokens are not minted. Now, there is some things to keep in mind when calling reward. Calling reward requires a transaction to be submitted from an orchestrator. And this transaction costs gas fees. So if you don't have a high LPT stake, then the fees sometimes can outweigh the benefit of calling reward. By default, Livepeer automatically calls reward every day, but we can actually disable that so that we do not automatically call reward. As you can see, if you go to page 10, there are some orchestrators here that have their reward calling off, and that is to either save gas fees or simply they do not want to call reward. So the way we do that is we can minimize this. We can open up our launch node.bat file. We can edit that. And again, where we had the dash monitor flag, we can now actually put in here the flag for rewards. And to turn off the automatic calling of rewards, we can put in dash reward equal false. And now when our orchestrator node is running, it will not automatically call rewards every day, but we can still manually call it in the client commands. So we can actually save this and close it. And now when you launch, it will automatically not call reward. This may be helpful for new orchestrators that are just setting things up and want to save some ETH from gas fees. The next thing we're going to go through is client commands. These are the commands in the client and all that they do. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure our node is running. And then we can go ahead and open up our client as well. And as you can see here, we have 17 commands that we can use in order to communicate with our node. And we're going to go through each one of them. So the first one is simply get node status. Very simply, when we press 1 and hit enter, it refreshes our current node status. Number 2 is get protocol parameters. This will show us a number of things about the protocol and the Livepeer program itself. 1 and 2 you don't use very often, maybe 1 sometimes to refresh the page. Number 3 is listed orchestrators. This can be useful, but it really just displays what is on the Livepeer Explorer on the internet. So when we hit that, you can see a list of all the orchestrators and their stake and their service URI and lots of information posted here. If we scroll down, we can go through the next ones, which are invoke commands. We will be using some of them, but not all of them. So let's go through them real quick. First is number 4, invoke initialize round. This is a command that has to be done once a round by any orchestrator. Currently, it is done mostly by Livepeer Inc. itself and is automatic for the rest of us orchestrators. So we won't be really utilizing invoke initialize round. Next is invoke bond. Now this is simply just to bond more tokens to your orchestrator from within your account. Number 6 is unbond, which simply puts your tokens in the 7-day unbonding period for you to withdraw later. Number 7 is invoke rebond, which rebonds the current stake that you have in the unbonding period if you decide to change your mind. 8 is invoke withdraw stake. So after the unbonding period is done of 7 days, we can go ahead and invoke the withdraw stake so that you get your LPT tokens back into your account and available to transfer elsewhere. invoke withdraw fees. This is when you win a winning ticket. It puts it into a separate escrow, if you will, where you have to withdraw your ETH fees or your transcoding fees in the future. You can let this accumulate, but oftentimes people withdraw it immediately after they win a winning ticket. So number 9 is important, and you might have to use it in the future when winning tickets. 10 is invoke transfer. That is simply moving your stake to another orchestrator, but still bonding from within this same account. 11 is invoke reward. Again, this is an important one. If you have your reward set to false, meaning you're not automatically claiming it, you can easily go in here and press 11 and manually call your daily reward. Number 12 is invoke multiset become an orchestrator. We've already gone through this in a previous video. 13 is set orchestrator config. This is also a very useful one. It allows you to set different service URIs, different price per pixel, and different fee cuts. So let's quickly go through 13 because it is important. You can see that here we can change our reward cut. We can leave it the same. We can change our fee cut. We can enter the pixels that make up a unit. We can enter how many way it costs per pixel. And we can also set our orchestrator service URI. Now, if you don't change any of these settings and you leave the same settings that were there prior, it will not submit a new Ethereum transaction, so it doesn't cost any gas fees. I'm going to keep the same URI, which will not submit a transaction. And once you've done that, it will either submit the updates to the blockchain or just update whatever settings you have made. The next two are number 14 and 15, which is set the maximum and minimum Ethereum gas price. Setting these maximums and minimums might be helpful to save gas fees. For instance, if we set our maximum gas price, so let's invoke number 14, it will ask us what is the maximum gas price we're willing to pay. Now, if gas prices spike, this could be really helpful as it will not submit the transaction. However, it will not reattempt at a later date to resubmit calling reward if you have automatic calls on. So if it fails to do so, you will most likely have to come back and manually invoke reward. Now, this might have changed based on the version of Livepeer you're running, but just keep in mind, if you do set a max gas fee, you might have to come back later during the round and manually invoke the reward. Also note, you need 9 zeros behind your number because this is in Wei, but gas is usually in Gwei. So for instance, if we want to set it to 50 Gwei, we can type in 50 followed by 9 zeros. And now if we hit 1, which is get node status, and we scroll up a bit, we can see that our max gas price is now 50 Gwei. And you also see a min gas price of 1 Gwei. And we will go ahead and leave that for now. The last two are 16 signing a message and 17 voting in a poll. If you are going to be voting, this is how you can vote. And to sign a message, if you're familiar with how to use Ethereum, this may be helpful as well. And that concludes the client commands. The next thing I'd like to cover is some Livepeer flags and where you can find a list of all the flags. The easiest way to do this is if we go back to our launch node executable file and we edit this file, we can go ahead to the very beginning here and we can put in the flag for -help. And when we run that, it's going to give us all the commands and all the flags that we can use in this Livepeer program. So if we save that and exit, when we go ahead and run that, we are given a list of all the different flags provided by Livepeer and a quick little description of how they can help. We can go through things like block pulling interval and how often the program pulls for information. You can add your own existing ETH account. You can add the max number of max attempts you will attempt before your transcoder stops. You can set your max and min gas prices. You can also change the ticket expected value and adjust how often you get paid out. There is a lot of different settings you can set up in here, so I would recommend going through this and checking it out and seeing what you can use to further customize your node. The last thing I'd like to go through is how to set up your Livepeer profile on the Livepeer Explorer. This is very useful if you're trying to brand your node as well as just help customize your orchestrator to stand out. So the way we do that is open up our browser. we can go to explorer.livepeer.org. And once we are here, we can go ahead and import our newly created wallet from Livepeer into our MetaMask. So assuming you have MetaMask on your computer, we can open that up. We can go ahead and import a new account. I already have some accounts in here, but we can import a new one. And instead of importing using a private key, we can import using the JSON file. Once we're here, we can go ahead and choose the file that Livepeer has created. By default, Livepeer always creates it under the same place. So unless you've created it in a new place, the way we find our JSON file is under this PC, C, users, your user profile. There will be a new folder called LP data. We can open that under mainnet, key store. And here you will find the Ethereum wallet that Livepeer has created. We can go ahead and open that. And we will have to enter the passphrase that we put in when we created it. And go ahead and click import. It may take a while for this to be imported, so you will have to be patient. I will come back when it has finished. That account has finished importing, but for this example, we will be using this account number 2 that is already loaded. So once it has loaded in here, we can go ahead and exit out of MetaMask and connect wallet in the Livepeer Explorer. We can connect through MetaMask and see that our account has connected properly. Once we exit out, we can go to our account in the top left, and we can see a little button that says Set up my profile. You will need to sign a transaction in order to approve signing up your profile. And once you have signed all 3 messages, you can see here now that we can put in a name. We will call this one Titan Node Test. We can throw in a website, and we will call it Please Subscribe. And in here, you can also put in the rest of your details. And in our description, we can put Welcome to Titan Node Tutorials. You can enter a photo and all that fun stuff. Once you're done, you can hit save. And you can see now that we have created our profile, as well as we have all the abilities to use the functions of the Livepeer Explorer with this account attached. This is a nice user-friendly way to make some changes, but overall the node is where most of the transactions happen. That concludes the end of this video. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support Titan Node, you can go to titan-node.com/delegate to stake your tokens with Titan Node. You earn Ethereum and Livepeer from delegating to the Titan Node Orchestrator. Thank you for watching and have a great day.